Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda.
We're bringing you a special show today. We know how you love hearing from real people.
The real ones, not
The
fake
real
people.
So today we're going to ask what we think are some pretty important questions to some real folks, and you can see some answers. Unscripted, they have not been prepared in any way,
Nope.
so these are real answers.
I'm Diana.
And Mike Macedo.
We've been in the Villages for 2.5 years.
And we're originally from Massachusetts, a small town called Seacock.
All right. What do you think of the lot size in the Villages? People worry when they get here that they won't be able to adapt.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the lot size being small is an advantage. Less maintenance, it's much easier to deal with. The house size is about the same as what we had before, maybe a little larger.
A little larger house. We ended up with a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And we actually had a Cape, right? Yeah, a Cape back in Massachusetts.
Which is a lot.
Well, what do you think about the neighbors? Are the neighbors too close?
No, our neighbors are great. We don't have any problems with them. In fact, we don't see them all that much. They're off busy doing their thing, and we're off busy doing our stuff.
And actually, the women on our street, we have our own bunco group. So once a month, we play bunco, all the women on our road.
Now, one thing we like about the Villages is the deed restrictions, because it prevents your neighbors from doing things that might offend you or annoy you, and it keeps everything looking great. How do you feel about the deed restrictions?
I think they're great because, like you said, it keeps everything looking nice and manicured, and you don't have the ugly pink house sticking out.
Well, on principle, it irks me to have restrictions, to tell you the truth. However, they are beneficial. It's not a big problem or a hassle to have those deed restrictions.
How do you find the traffic here?
Better than back home. The traffic is much better. People are a little bit crazy at drivers, and we seem to get such a mix of styles from all the states that it's a challenge.
And snowbird season is pretty crowded. You have to make reservations for restaurants and things.
One of the biggest worries of people that come here new is the heat. How does the heat affect you, or is it not an issue?
Well, I was concerned about the humidity. I always said I'll never live in Florida, and here I am. But it's been fine. I haven't had a problem with it because everything's air conditioned.
Yeah, we just adapt what we do at what times of the day. It's the same as in the winter up north.
Another thing, people don't want to leave what's familiar. So many people, wherever they live, whether it's Massachusetts or Indiana, they're afraid to leave. How have you found the adjustment to the Villages from leaving your old hometown?
When we came down here, we have no family down here at all. We just came on our own. We've made friends. And now, in the wintertime, we bring my 90-year-old mother down for a few months to get her out of the winter, and she loves it.
Yeah, it's basically wasn't a bad transition. There's more people I associate with down here than I would back home.
Hi, my name is Rick Almeida, and I'm a member of the Villages. Purchased a home in 2019, so probably just about 4.5 years now. Almost gonna be 5 years in June. 5 years of the Villages. First couple of years, we're in the village of Santo Domingo, and the first few years we were still working, so we rented out our property, and whenever it wasn't rented out, we would see if we could get away, come down here and spend some time. My wife and I are originally from Rhode Island and Massachusetts, and actually right now we're both in Massachusetts right now, in the town of Lakeville, and that's where we are right now, Lakeville, Massachusetts.
Are the homes here too close together?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It doesn't bother us. We have great neighbors, so it's not even an issue. We sit outside in the back of, our lanai and bird cage at night, and we hardly ever see anybody, so
You're not bothered by your neighbors.
not at all, not at all.
Do you find the deed restrictions here to be fair?
Yes, and we're kind of for it. I mean, I know like a lot of people, they think some things are certain, they're pretty strict, but if we can't do it, that means our neighbors can't do it either. So you're not going to see a vehicle up on blocks in the driveway or something like that. Everything is really nice and neat looking. And
You've seen a lot of bad traffic in your life. What do you think of the traffic in the villages?
I don't think it's bad at all. I mean, we came from Boston area and even Rhode Island right now. Traffic is a nightmare. So this is nothing. Even in the snowbird season, I don't think the traffic is bad. It's a little tough getting reservations at restaurants during snowbird season. I mean, we're snowbirds, so. But yeah, I would say the traffic's not bad at all. It's just like our biggest issue we find is we're here a little bit longer out of snowbird season, and we just notice the difference is just the restaurants trying to get a reservation.
Where you come from, it's cool a lot of the year. How do you handle this heat?
I love it. The hotter the better.
What's the difference between living in Massachusetts, New York, wherever you've been, and living here?
The weather. We just love it. And I mean, it's just the community itself. I mean, I stay so active down here compared to up north. I mean, when we moved, we just, sold property, decided to combine everything up north, just in a condo, because we didn't want to be bothered with renters or anything like that anymore. So we have a condo, and I'm bored silly up there in the summer. I had to go out and get a part-time job.
I'm Doug Campbell, and this is
Cheryl Campbell.
and we're from Rhode Island, and we're looking to move to the villages in the next few years. I'm actually retired Navy, and had a second career, retired from that just a couple of years ago to take care of elderly parent, and unfortunately she's in a nursing home at this time, but at least things are stable, and
We want to be here as soon as we can.
You like the villages?
I love it. I don't think he was quite on board at first until he went, and then he was sold.
How much time have you spent in the villages?
We haven't spent that much time. We have one cousin that lived in St. Catherine, so we would visit him, and we have cousins that rent, so we would just visit for
So you know your
a
way
few
around.
days at a time.
it's
Yeah.
been a few days in reality, but
We went around and looked at houses with, open houses.
What's your initial impression on the homes in the villages? Are they too close together?
So my initial take was they're too close together because we live on an acre of land. All our neighbors are on large lots like that. But I don't want to cut that much grass anymore. Not that there's any leaves to rake there, but I don't want to maintain it. So I like the idea of the small lot now.
And we want to be out and active and doing things and not really spend all of our time at home. So I think it's more important to be in that location than how close the houses are.
How will you feel about deed restrictions if you move here? Because you can't have statues in your yard, you can't have trash cans out, those kind of things.
Love it. I love it. Where we are, people, things that they think are beautiful, we don't. So we will have no problem with that.
Are you prepared for this heat down here?
That is a good question. I don't mind the heat, but I'm not sure how he will feel.
That's one of my biggest concerns. But I can always leave for August.
And they have air conditioning.
And they have air conditioning.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, it doesn't go over 100 degrees very often, and when we first moved to Rhode Island, or moved back there in 2002, it was 102 degrees.
And you two
For
are still
3 days.
standing, so.
What do you anticipate the biggest adjustment will be for you if you move here from your old hometown?
You know, I don't really know.
We won't be working. We'll have
Well-
to find ways to enjoy ourselves more frequently.
Having more to do than we have time. Right now, we live in a rural area. There's not many people to do anything with. So I plan on getting right in there and getting involved. So that's probably it. Too
Great.
many things to do.
Hello, I'm Frances Abinader. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I've been living in Florida for the last 12 years in Legacy of Leesburg, so I'm not a villager. I would call myself a village supporter. A village's supporter.
Do you make your way to the villages often?
I do. I check who's playing in the town square, which town square. I follow some groups like Blue
Bluestone Circle.
Circle. Excellent. Yeah. I follow different groups. Yeah. Go to the restaurants.
Your opinion of the villages, and you've driven through,
Oh yes,
are the homes too close together?
some of them. Some of the newer villages I think are closer together. You can really see it when you're if you're driving on the turnpike. You can see.
Would you anticipate being bothered by your neighbors in such a close proximity?
Maybe sometimes, but I'm sure there's a way around that. I think they've probably, designed it that way for a purpose.
How do you feel about deed restrictions?
Well, I live in a community with deed restrictions and a committee that has to approve everything. So I like it because there has to be some kind of standards. You can't let everybody just go willy-nilly,
How do you deal with that heat?
You stay in your AC. You do your chores early in the morning or late at night. But then by that time, everything's closed and returned.
How do you feel about the difference between your old hometown was Fort Lauderdale, right?
Well, before we lived in South Florida, before we lived in Leesburg, we lived in New Hampshire.
What is the biggest difference between living there and living here?
I think your quality of life is better when you can get out in the sunshine and see people. If you're sequestered in your house because of the cold weather, it does something to you.
Hi, my name's Jim, and I'm from Long Island, New York. We moved here 2 years ago to Citrus Grove, and about a year and a half later, we built a house on a pond in Newell. So that's
Okay.
my story.
Are the lots too small?
Their lots are not too small in my opinion, but we are in a designer home, and we do have an easement, so that gives us about an extra 5 foot on one side. But certainly it's a lot smaller than the lot I had on Long Island. But I don't think it's too small. I think the way your house is positioned is more important than how big the lot is. It depends, what you see out your back door. But no, I don't think they're too close, too small.
Are you ever bothered by your neighbors?
I actually have pretty good neighbors in both of the homes I've had here. I'm fortunate that one of my neighbors enclosed their lanai, so that's a soundproofing both ways. And my other neighbor also lived in Citrus Grove, and I know them, and they're terrific. The other thing is one travels a lot, and the other one is a snowbird. So it's a little private, and plus I have nobody behind me being on a pond. So I really have had no problem with neighbors.
Do you find the deed restrictions here fair?
I actually love the deed restrictions. When I was on Long Island, a neighbor 2 doors down had this massive boat in his driveway 8 months out of the year. It was well maintained and it was covered and it was not an eyesore, but for 8 months a year I saw that. So the fact that you can't put any old thing in your front yard or park anything or RVs or whatever, I'm all for that, because if I can't do it, they can't do it.
This will be an easy one for you.
Okay.
How's the traffic here compared to where you came from?
What traffic? I will tell you, in the 2 years I've been here, I've been stuck at a light for 2 cycles exactly 1 time. And so the traffic is not bad. And down by Newell, we only have 1 lane each way on Megasin, and it's still really not a problem.
How about the heat?
Well, the first summer I was here, I was a lot smaller than I am now because of all the socializing here, but I actually like the heat. The heat does wonders for my hands and my back, so I really, and I'm a big person, I really don't have trouble with the heat, but August is hot. There's no doubt about that. But then again, it's February and it's like 75 degrees in the Villages today. That's okay.
What would you say is the major difference between the lifestyle you had up north and the lifestyle you have here?
Much more social here. When you live in New York, I would say 2 doors down, you don't know who the person is. And when I first moved to the Villages, I was, you get the concern, is it too big of a place? And my dad said something that stuck with me. He goes, I didn't grow up in Brooklyn. I didn't grow up in Williamsburg. I grew up on Central Avenue. So I don't know anybody in Dunedin other than you. And, so it's, I don't think that's a problem here at all.
Okay.
That's my opinion anyway.
Hi, I'm Jack, and this is Stephanie.
Hi.
We live in Leesburg in the plantation. We enjoy our time in the Villages. You're our neighbors. Some of our favorite places to eat and entertain are in the Villages. We've enjoyed several shows at Savannah Center and the Sharon. And glad to be your neighbors.
Yep.
In your opinion, are the lots too small in the Villages?
Some, I think, are too small.
Not many have yards, large.
Right.
yard.
Do you feel like the homes are too close together?
Some homes are very close together.
In some of the neighborhood, no,
Right.
newer
In-
neighborhoods.
In it seems like in the villas they're pretty close together.
Yeah.
Our neighborhood is more like your neighborhood from what I've seen in the videos. We have a little bit of elbow room between homes, not an awful lot, but enough so you can sneeze without your neighbor saying bless you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Are you ever bothered by your neighbors?
No.
No.
We're very
Yeah, we're
very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
We love our neighbors, and
They've welcomed us. We've only been here 5 months permanently, so
yeah.
we feel very welcome.
How do you feel about deed restrictions?
I think they're, in general, a very good idea. It keeps up the standard, keeps up the
Yeah.
property values. It's a beautiful place. We want to keep it looking beautiful.
How do you feel about traffic down here compared to where you lived before?
Summer or winter.
Yeah.
Um,
Big contrast.
The traffic, it's not bad. It moves. I like the roundabouts. Some people don't, but
Yeah.
it keeps the traffic moving. We lived in England for 2 years, and they're experts at maneuvering through roundabouts. And
So we were used to
as long as everyone obeys the rules, it keeps things moving, and it's safer. We appreciate your video on roundabouts, and as the officer pointed out, there may be a few accidents, but they're in general much less severe.
Good. The heat. How do you deal with it?
Summer's going to be our traveling season.
Yes.
We have a son in Seattle, and we have family in the Northeast and Midwest, so we'll be traveling most of the summer. But even at that, if you really look at it, the temperature difference isn't that great. It might be 92 in Central Florida, but it's 88 in Ohio. It's really not that drastic a difference.
Overall, what would you say the major difference is living in Florida compared to your old hometown?
Oh, it's a much healthier, more active lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because the weather is so much better.
Yes.
You can get out and do things year round. Even when it is hot in the summertime, you have the mornings and you have the evenings. I feel much healthier
Yes, so do
here.
Mentally and physically.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Steve,
I'm Brenda.
and we've moved to the Villages from Michigan, and we're in DeLuna.
And we've been here almost a year and a half.
Do you think the lots are too small?
Yes, a little bit. Yes, they are very tight, and you're right on top of one another unless you go to one of the big designers or a larger.
Good.
Then that needs to be.
The homes too close together?
Yeah, we look right into our neighbor's lanai. Luckily, we like them, so it worked out well.
Are you ever bothered by neighbors?
Just, I hate to say it, but some of the dogs are a little barky. But the neighbors are all good.
And we also have a set of neighbors that throw some nice parties into the wee hour mornings.
They're
Okay.
a little noisy.
I love that answer because everybody loves their neighbors. It's all perfect. It's all perfect. People only buy that for so long because we all know that. Yeah, so
There are
that's
some
good.
things that are annoying.
Good.
Yeah.
How do you deal with a barking dog neighbor?
I work during the day, so it is a little annoying because I'm working from 7:30 till 3:30 in the afternoon, and yeah, to hear that dog out there barking is it's distracting sometimes.
If I hear it outside, I've actually gone to the neighbor, and they do try to curb the barking dogs. A lot of the neighbors explain that their dogs have never been around people before, so they have been working very hard to get their dogs to not bark. And we don't have the problem with the dogs pooping in our lawn like a street or two away have had that problem.
You can't say poop on TV.
Say-
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What do you think about the deed restrictions?
Which part of the deed restrictions are you talking about?
Well, we could be talking about parking a semi in your driveway or a boat on your side yard or having a statue of, an 8-foot statue of Jesus on the front lawn or whatever.
I think some of the deed restrictions are very good, and I do think some of them should allow the property owner, since we actually own the property, to be able to do what they want to do in the backyards. In the front yards, I understand having a nice looking front in and around, and I do kind of believe in not having a camper or a mobile home parked in front of somebody's house for 3-4 days or a week, which I have heard that has happened.
Okay. How do you feel about the traffic here?
Terrible.
It's horrific.
We live right next to 301, and sometimes you get out there and you're stuck for 10-15 minutes because it's only one lane.
Or you can't get out at all and have to go around Marshman Trail, come back out off of Warm Springs, and go all the way down to Morris Boulevard and try to drive up. So you add another half hour to your time to try to get out.
I love you guys.
Yes.
Everybody else has been, what traffic?
Yeah.
I've seen the traffic down there at
301 is
Warm
bad.
Springs and 301.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Good for you.
And they need to fix the turnpike. That intersection has had so many accidents from the turnpike to 301.
Well, they're gonna redo all that.
Serious accidents, but I mean, they've been sitting there for a month now with the posts for stoplights, but nothing has happened, and they've been supposed to go in over 3 months ago.
The heat.
I'm learning.
We're learning to like it.
I'm learning the hard way. Coming from Michigan and being the first time down here, I didn't know that you were supposed to be back in the house before noon in the middle of a project and trying to finish it.
Yeah, I have to peel the shirts off of them in the summer. Yeah.
Hi there, I'm Sharon,
And I'm Rick.
and we're the Crusoes, and we're from Manlius, New York, a suburb of Syracuse. We live in the village of Case and Hammock. We've been there a little over 2 years, and we're loving it.
Are the lots too small in the villages?
They're very similar to the house that we live in now. And actually ours is a little bit bigger in Case and Hammock because we didn't realize it when we bid on the house that it was actually a little bit bigger lot than all the other ones in the area. But yeah, it would be nice to be a little bit bigger, but we don't plan on spending a lot of time actually in the house.
Are your neighbors' homes too close?
A little bit, because we had some space where we live now, so a little bit, but the way they're built, we have a fence, so we're good.
Do you find the deed restrictions fair in the villages?
Yeah,
Yes, we actually like that.
we do. We like it.
Okay. How's the traffic compared to where you came from?
A little heavier, just a little bit heavier, but not much. Since we're in north of 44 or south of 44, the more they build down in that area, the more the traffic is getting a little bit busier. We've noticed. So
Yeah, and it was pretty busy in the mornings when they were building the villages south of us. But that's kind of cleared up now because now they moved on to the other side of the south of the turnpike.
How are you all adjusting to the heat?
oh, we have no problem with it. As I said, we're a suburb of Syracuse, so we love it.
Yes.
It's hot in Syracuse?
No, it's cold, so we love the heat down in Florida.
We prefer the heat
We
over
prefer the heat
I
over
prefer a
the
90-degree day over a 20 below 0 degree day.
We do.
Yes.
What would you say the biggest adjustment was moving from up there to Florida?
I would say for me, I'm a little homesick just because of my friends. I left a lot of good friends up there, but they're going to come on down. One of them has a lifestyle visit planned, so hopefully we can get some of our friends down there. And since he's not down here full time and I've been by myself working, it's been a little difficult, but pretty soon we'll be together and living the lifestyle together. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, we've been in the villages about 7 years. We're snowflakes or snowbirds, depending on how you want to categorize us. We're from Indiana and strong Purdue supporters, and a little bit of Vincennes University and also University of Louisville, down from where you're from originally. And we're over in the Cade Villas in the village of Caroline.
What do you think about the lots in the villages? Are they too small?
I grew up in a farm, and much similar to the one you described that you left, and we don't notice that at all. We don't notice that at all. We have enough space between the houses. If we want to get chairs and tables, we can put 25, 30 people there easily, and then let them go out into the street if needed.
Do you find the deed restrictions a good thing or bad thing?
Well, my background is with Purdue and some military, but also in commercial real estate, so I'm kind of used to deed restrictions. And you know, it's very, very important to read the fine print, no matter where you're at on a deed restriction. And I feel sorry for the people that have the problems. The gravel front for the small villas is a little bit of an issue. So there obviously are some challenges, but the villages is so great you can work around it.
And how's the traffic here compared to that Indiana traffic?
Well, you know, it's nice we have the lift gates. 60,000 golf carts can go in and out because of those. And because of that, I'm happy to have the lift gates.
The heat.
The heat, I grew up on a watermelon farm in Princeton, Indiana. 110, 115 degrees in the sand raising watermelons. And so the heat's not an issue. Having said that, we're back in Indiana during the summers, or have been so far, but times are changing, weather's changing, and it's warm back in Indiana and here, both.
That's cool about the watermelons. What's your biggest one ever?
We used to raise them, take them to Indiana State Fair. They had a program for the 100 biggest watermelons,
We had, as I recall, the biggest one I think was about 95 pounds. It took two people to lift most of those up. They would average 70, 75 pounds.
Did you pick them by hand?
Oh yeah, everything was done by hand back then, but that's a few years ago.
Yeah.
Also grew up in a Yorkshire hog farm, but I don't know if you know what a Yorkshire is or not.
I sure do. We've had pigs growing up.
Okay.
He did, not me. Not the city girl, he's a country boy.
Okay.
Can you speak to as the main difference between living in Indiana and moving down here to Florida?
Well, I think it might be easier to contrast what's similar, and one of them is I find people very friendly in the villages, very friendly back in Indiana. The low crime rate in the villages is extremely good. There's so many different resources to help you, particularly as a senior citizen, be it medical or any other areas. It's just people jump out to try to be helpful to other people.
Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm Brenda Osling. This is my husband Wayne, and we are originally from Wisconsin, outside of the Milwaukee area. We are snowbirds, so we live in northern Wisconsin near Tomahawk in the summer for about 4.5 months, and then we reside in the village of LaBelle north.
Do you think the lots are too small in the villages?
They're a lot different than what we had in Wisconsin. We had over an acre. I don't think so though. I used to love mowing the lawn and doing all that crap, but it takes me about 15 minutes to mow my lawn now. We have a big nice hedge behind our neighbors so we don't see them, so I don't mind it. A lot less to take care of.
Do you think the homes are too close together?
It took a little while to get used to, but we're not home all that super much, so we don't notice it. So personally, I don't think they are.
Yeah, the only thing, sometimes I wish we had a little bit more backyard, so when you entertain with the large lanai or whatever would be nice, but we're out and about doing many activities, so we're not really home that much to be in our backyard.
Have you ever been bothered by neighbors?
Absolutely. And it had to do with a landscaping project for which the landscaper said he would get ARC approval and never did. So it had to get torn up to some degree, and we weren't real happy with it, and it was all due to our neighbor behind us, nice Midwestern people from Iowa who we had never met, and they never spoke to us, so yes, we did.
That leads into this next question. How do you feel about the deed restrictions?
I think they're needed. I don't like people running around in villages that aren't their own and reporting things. If you have a neighbor that sees something that they think isn't up to snuff, I think they should come to you personally before they go to the authorities. But I think they're needed. I think you need those in a community to keep it looking nice.
Well, it keeps people from painting their house orange or pink or chartreuse and putting gaudy things that really pull down the value of your home. So there needs to be some sort of regulations.
Well, it's like I say when we go to these places, one man's whimsical is another man's tacky.
For sure,
very,
for sure.
Very true.
Yeah. How's the traffic here?
So we were in a suburban area that didn't have a lot of traffic. So when I came in August to visit and stay at our home, there was no traffic because all the snowbirds had left. So it ebbs and flows depending on who's all here. So when all the renters are here, it can get a little bottlenecked in some of the roundabouts, but I just leave myself a little extra time to get to, say I'm going to Pilates or an activity. I don't mind it. Everybody's here for the same reason, and that's to have fun and enjoy life. And they have just as much right to it as I do. So it comes with the territory. It's growing quickly, and there's good reason for that.
Okay. The heat.
I love it hot. I don't have a problem.
I'm not here in the summer, so I'm not a big superheat guy. I like the warmth. That's why we got out of Wisconsin. But 100-degree days, you can have them.
Yeah, we had a few of those in August when I was here, but it's been a really cool winter. I mean, we've had days where it's gotten into the 40s, warms up in the 60s, which allows you to wear a nice sweater or sweatshirt and throw on some boots. But overall, I think the climate's perfect. We get a nice change of seasons here.
And finally, the biggest difference between your home up north and the villages.
Our kids aren't here.
And we spend a whole lot more money in the villages.
We eat out a lot more. We eat out more. We socialize more. We're much more active here. and I'm not working, which is perfect.
Yes, it's Dale and Tina. We're from Pennsylvania. We have a house at the Carolinas, and we love it there. Do you want to add anything to it?
We moved in June of 2021. And we're snowflakes. We just come back and forth.
Yeah.
You live in Caroline, by the way.
Yeah, the village of Caroline, not the Carolinas.
I was going, what?
Are the lots too small?
We have a pretty nice sized backyard, and it borders up right to the fence at the end of the villages.
There's
which
5
is
acres. A
pasture.
With cows in the backyard,
And
bulls and cows.
And we have a live oak in the back. It must be at least 300
couple of
years
them.
old. It's huge.
Yeah, so we have a lot of privacy.
Yeah, real.
Do you think the houses are too close together?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it'd be nicer if they were further apart. Definitely.
Have you had any trouble with your neighbors?
No.
No, they're wonderful.
No. Matter of fact, when we had a block party there, the one neighbor goes to me, "Whatever goes on in the villages here stays in the villages." And we agreed with that, with no problem.
Do you find the deed restrictions fair?
Yeah, we never had any
great.
problem with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, you know.
How's the traffic compared to where you came from?
Now in the wintertime, it's bad.
a
We're not
lot.
used to the wintertime
It's
down here in the
easy.
villages. In the summertime, it's no problem at all, but it gets a little
Busier
hectic.
in winter,
Sure.
definitely.
The heat.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Tina,
I hate cold, so I don't care. And you can always go in the air conditioning or the pool if you're hot.
But it was nippy. We were down here in December, and it was cold. You know.
Yeah, it does get cold, but in a few
does.
days it warms up and
Yeah,
it's
the
great.
sun comes out and it warms up quick.
You know, they say down here your blood thins.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
I don't think so either.
know.
If you're cold, you're cold.
My brother, when he comes up north, he's pretty cold.
What's the major difference between your home up north and your home here? Not the home, but the area.
The area.
The area.
I tell you, we know more of our neighbors down here in just a little bit of time. We've been down here than 30 years in the neighborhood up there in Pennsylvania.
Hi, Karen and Carl Schramm. We live in Monarch Grove, and we've been here 3.5 years, right?
Close to that. We're from originally from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, with a 4-year stop off in North Carolina to visit the grandkids, and then we came here to Paradise.
And what village?
Monarch Grove. We live in Monarch Grove, and we love it there.
Okay. How do you feel about the lots? Are they too small?
You mean where we live?
Yeah.
We have a little bit more room. They said we don't have a kissing the lanai. So, but it's still kind of close, but he didn't want to cut grass.
Yeah, I didn't come here to cut grass and do work, so there's no barking dogs, screaming kids, swing sets, junk cars. So the lots can be small because your neighbors are friendly and quiet.
Well, that was my next two questions. Kind of was, are the homes too close together?
I think some might be. I think they're further apart up north by a lot. But yeah, we're happy with the size of our lot.
Some of the patio villas and courtyard villas are quite close together, but that doesn't affect us.
Yeah. I wish we had one of those with a fence.
Have you had any trouble with neighbors?
No. No, we've got great neighbors, and Dave and Margie is our next door neighbor, and they're just a great couple.
Do you have any comments about the deed restrictions?
Well, of course, they can be a pain, but you have to have them, or you're going to end up with a bunch of junk cars, dogs chained to a tree, laundry on the lines for days. You have to have deed restrictions to keep the neighborhood clean and tidy.
Yeah.
How's the traffic here compared to where you came from?
Lots more.
In the winter season with the snowbirds. And a lot of people from all over creation don't know how to operate traffic circles, and I also think later on in the evening hours, the people coming home from the town squares may have a blood alcohol situation.
I think so, yes.
The heat.
You know what? In Pennsylvania, where we were from, it is more humid up there in the summertime than it is in the villages. I mean, you just learn to do what you need to do in the morning and in the evening, or like around your dinner time hour. And if it's too hot for you in the afternoon, you go to the pool, you stay inside. But the humidity rate up in Pennsylvania, we lived in a valley, and it was a lot.
We still have 4 seasons in the villages. We have spring, summer, and fall. It's just hot longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between, say, Williamsport and the villages, what do you find is the biggest difference?
Williamsport is an old town. At one time, it was the lumber capital of the world, and then it came into the Marcellus Shale natural gas boom. But it's an old town, deteriorating rapidly. The villages is all brand new, nice and shiny.
No, not very little crime in the villages. I worked for the district attorney's office up there, and from when I started to when I left, it's a vicious circle. You know, there's a lot of crime.
But we don't have any Little League Baseball down here.
That's right, there's Little League Baseball up there. A fun 2 weeks.
We have no kids here
I don't have a problem with kids.
to play baseball.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Steve, and
I'm Amy.
Yep, she is. We are from Cade Villas in Marsh Bend area.
Originally from Manteno, Illinois,
And we've been here a couple years.
and we love it, and we're still going back and forth. Hi, Mom. She's in Illinois. We're waiting to say hi to Mom.
Are the homes here too close together?
No, we love the privacy. We don't need a big yard. We don't want the maintenance.
Okay. Do you think the homes are too close together?
Absolutely not.
Have you had any neighbor trouble?
No, other than the neighbors have all been great. We got to know all our neighbors a lot better than we have in 35 years in our hometown.
Same thing for us. We've got more friends here, and of course that's kind of due to our channel, but
Yeah. That helps. I need a channel.
do you find the deed restrictions a good thing?
I think, yes, I think that's good because it keeps everybody in compliance and everything in check. And that way you don't have any worries of somebody having different ideas than should be. And I think it's a good thing.
Yes.
The traffic from where you used to live to here?
The traffic, as far as in the villages, we take our golf cart everywhere. So we don't have any worries with traffic in the golf cart. Maybe there'll be 4 golf carts backed up on a roundabout, and that's about it. And that's about the worst it gets.
The heat.
Well, the heat hasn't bothered us so much because we're pretty much snowflakes. We go back and forth, and then in the summer when it gets hot, we head back home to Illinois, and we come back when it starts getting better weather and worse weather at home.
What would you say the major differences between living in Illinois and living here?
As far as the difference would be the camaraderie and the friendships that we made here in the villages. It's just everybody's at the same level. They're looking for friendships. They're looking for just to meet people. And where I think in Illinois, everybody's busy doing just supporting the families and just busy work. Where here in the villages, everybody's here to have fun and enjoy the remaining years that we have.
Have you joined any groups?
I love yoga. I love cardio drumming.
Yeah.
The gym.
That was fun. I mean, I always like to talk to people.
We do. We enjoy that. That's the best part about our program or our adventure here is with the newcomers. And it's fun to meet all the people inside and outside the villages.
And what's the underlying idea from all of them is that they like it. They enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a good place.
It is a good place. I can't think of any place better.
Yeah.
If you liked our video today, please press that like and subscribe button and share it with all your friends. Until next time.
See you when you get here.